for this project, we're going to use a spring pick and these little pre-made signs that are at the front of Michael's. The sign was $1.99, and then this little pick was in my Michael's grab bags last year from spring. So I'm just going to take the back of the pick off here. And because my particular design is a little bit bigger than the box is, I'm going to have to take the snips and snip the edges down to size, but trying to keep everything to where you can at least recognize what the word still is, of course. Once that's fit, then I'm going to take the Waverly Scallion paint and paint the box. And then Rust-Oleum Satin French Lilac is going to be what I use for the letters. And I have to redo the letters on mine because they were cut. And of course, it took some of the finish off. Once I've got that set up, I'm going to use these cute little chicks. And there are all kinds of options for these at Michael's. And I'm going to super glue my letters down and little chicks into the box. The little chicks are so funny too. They crack me up. I've got like 5 boxes of these things. Um, but once I get everything set up on the inside of the box, then I'm going to take some of the flowers that I have. These are magenta colored poppies. They're also from Spring's Michael grab bags last year that I got, and I'm going to attach those to the top. But look at how cute it is. Look at its little cross eyes. So I have 2 different options for cardstock that I bought. So the first one is this Paper Studio Vintage Floral. It's $12.99, and then they had 40% off at Hobby Lobby. That one has 60 sheets, and then this cool Kirby Teasdale Studio prints, and this one was $10.99, 80 sheets, also 40% off. They have a ton that you can choose from. And then I got this little bunny cutout, and the little bunny was $2.99, and then 40% off of that. So honestly, I think this one is a better value than anything you would find at Dollar Tree because it's larger and it's straighter and thicker. So I'm going to decoupage on the bunny, and I've already picked out a pattern. So I'm going to put this one away. I love that one, but that's going to be for another project. So with these different patterns, I'm going to do this one here. And if you'll notice, the bunny is larger than the paper. So you'll need 2 sheets if you do this same project. But you could also use like anything to decoupage. Wrapping paper, wallpapers, napkins. But if you use these sheets, you're going to need 2. So just make sure that you have 2 sheets of a pattern, or you could even do 2 different patterns if you wanted something that's complementary. So I'm going to get this little tail off here. And it looks like it is glued on, maybe? Yep, okay, it's not too bad. Nice, and it's got a little pad to where if I wanted to put that back on, that should easily attach with hot glue. Now, since it's going to have a seam, I'm going to put the seam right here at the neck. So you can either decoupage and go ahead and fit this on, or you can cut out ahead of time, whichever you prefer. So I want to save some of this paper, if I can, for some other projects. So I'm going to try to fit this up as close to the edges as I can. So we've got right here, and then the neck is right, looks like right there maybe. Okay. So now I'm going to fold this over. Try to keep that as straight as possible. So I have that edge to follow. And then
got this edge to follow. Which I know. All right. So I'm going to decoupage, and for that I'm just going to brush on some of my Mod Podge here, and the Mod Podge I use is the matte. Alright, so got that glued down, and then now we're going to apply the Mod Podge to the fronts. Now that I've got both sides Mod Podged and straightened out, now I'm going to cut the back side here. Now that I got my bunny roughly on there, I'm going to take the fine grit side, that's going to be this side here, and then I'm going to sand to take the edges off of the paper here. Okay, so she's all done now, and we've got this line here where we had to put the two pieces. So for this, you can either use like a ribbon or even like a trim piece, but I think I'm actually going to use florals, and I have these little bits that I broke off of some arrangements out of my Michaels boxes, and I want that to hold together, so I don't want to cut too much off of there. So I'm thinking about putting this to the side so that way it could be glued. Let me see, you know, kind of like that, and I'll just trim just a little bit off the back, but that like that, and then maybe taking some of these off and gluing those along there. That way it makes a little bit of a contrast and is different than just a ribbon. Now when I do that, when I take these off here, it's going to leave these little circles. So we'll just have to do something in the center there so that that doesn't look odd. So for those, I'm just going to hot glue a couple across here. I'm trying to leave them kind of full and more three-dimensional, so I'm just pressing like the middle really down into the hot glue. Alright, so here's each one glued down in the center, and then there's that. So you can see I've did it all around the side. I pushed it in there really good, and then also pushed some of the hot glue on the bottom. And then just to help stability wise, in case this gets like pushed or moved or anything, I glued a petal down, and then I'm going to do the same over here. I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue up here on the top, and then push that petal down. This was in my Michaels boxes, so I'm just going to swap it out. I've got that swapped out to pink. I'm going to take Craft Smart Bright Yellow. That doesn't look so great. And then I'm going to put a little bit on this fine tip brush, and I'm going to do a little dot in the center. A little bit of white to tone it down. And this white is not a good white. I really don't like this white. I don't use it a lot. You can see it's just absolute caca.
My completed bunny. This is such an easy project, but it's so beautiful. I love it. And remember, if I can do this, you can too.